Hello, welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. Makina now has a job. An unusually tidy-looking Machir stares up at me, wide-eyed, patting her hair with a towel, presumably fresh out of the bath. Money isn't the issue, just getting a little hands-on experience in the adult world. Machir frowns dubiously. Fundamentally, students using phrases like experiencing the adult world tend to be dressing up somewhat less innocent motives. Accordingly, it's probably difficult to take the words at face value.
いいことだと思いますよ。学園の中でこそああして天真爛漫に振る舞っていますけど。マキちゃんの人見知りは
I think this is going to be a great idea.
アルバイトという形で社会に進出するのはいい経験だと思います。
でもあのマキナよ、ちゃんと仕事なんかできるのかしら。
In response to Machir's admittedly somewhat reasonable questions, Sachi shakes her head softly.
できるできないは問題ではないのだと思います。まずは自分から苦手を克服しようという姿勢が大事なのではないかと。
Exactly right. You've got a good head on your shoulders, Sachi.
恐縮です。
いかにも優等生的なセリフだけど、言ってるだけじゃ意味ないんじゃないの？
それはどういう意味でしょう？
言葉で言うだけだったり、とりあえずの姿勢を作るだけなら誰にでもできるけど、結果が伴わなければ無駄なんじゃないのって、そういうことよ。
Oh, are you some kind of self-help expert now?
当たり前じゃない。私はいつだって努力しているし、簡単に諦めたり逃げ出したりしないわよ。
Well, you're good at mouthing words to that effect anyway.
何よ、私の言うことが信じられないってな。
Look, when push comes to shove, you always have Sachi bail you out, right? Whenever anything happens, it's Sachi! Sachi! Heck, you were screaming for her in the middle of the night just the other day.
あれはだって部屋にゴキブリが出たのよ。寮の管理をしているのはサチなんだから、ゴキブリの管理もサチの仕事でしょうが。
You're just spouting gibberish now. At this rate, you're going to end up unable to tie your own shoes without Sachi around.
そんなこと。
いえ、私は別に迷惑だとは思っていませんし、人に頼りにされるのは嫌いではありませんから。
Stop spoiling the girl. You're turning into a useless wump.
別に甘やかされてるわけじゃないわよ。私が命令してあげないとサチの仕事がなくなっちゃうでしょ。私はサチのためを思って仕事させてあげてるんじゃない。
What the heck are you saying? I mean, yeah, some capitalist hiring a new employee does invigorate the economy, but it's not like you're paying the girl an appropriate wage for her labors.
そんな難しいこと言われてもわかんないわよ。
Behold, Sachi, the road was paved with good intentions, but this is where it brought you.
いえ、 みちる様を責めないでください。
Maybe Sachi just does
反省すべ
it
き点は私にあるのですから。
just does it because she wants to. You really are a good girl, aren't you? Think that warrants some praise. Get over here. I reach out and rub Sachi's head roughly, working my fingers around her frilly hairband.
何よこれじゃあまるで私がダメな子みたいじゃないのよ。
Well, if the shoe fits.
わかったわよ。サチに甘えなきゃいいんでしょ。苦手を克服してりゃいい子なんでしょ。わかったわよ。やってやろうじゃないのよ。
Easy enough to mouth the words. The instant you actually run into trouble, you'll be clinging to Sachi again in no time.
そんなことないわよ。いいサチ。もし私が苦手なことから逃げ出そうとしても絶対に甘やかしちゃダメよ。
Well, I guess we have to separate from Chihiro from
よ
Sachi
ろし
now.
いのでしょうか。
よろしいのよ。わかった。わかったら復唱しなさい。
はい、私小峰幸はみちる様を甘やかさないと誓います。
よろしい。じゃあ大声出して喉乾いたからなんか飲み物持ってきて。
Oh, that was funny. You just don't get it, do you?
あ、何がよ。
No, just forget it. Stop taking care of me. Now go get me a glass of water. Michiru needs Sachi, and Sachi needs Michiru. At least that's the sense I get when I watch the two of them like this. This relationship seems to have found its own delicate balance. Trying to crudely rearrange it this late in the game would be unreasonable. But when you look at it that way, man, all this telling you not to take care of me is really making me tired. Now go get me a glass of water. Maybe sending me back out into the working world was a little hasty of me after all.
そうね。私には無謀にしか思えないけどでもこのままずっと学園に押し込んでおくわけにもいかないじゃない。実際天音なんかは買い物のたびにマキナの手を引いて歩いて少しでも学園の外の世界に馴染ませようとしてたみたいだしね。
But that's just...
そう、誰かが手を引いてくれなければ外に出られない子になっちゃうでしょ。天音もそのことはずっと気にしてたし、なんとかしなきゃってよく悩んでたわ。だから今回のアルバイトに関して不安はあるけど、時にはこういった強引さも必要なんじゃない？
Oh, so even you can make a coherent point every once in a while.
あんた、私のことただのアホだと思ってない？
What, you're not?
そりゃ強くは否定しないけれども本人に向かってそういうのはっきり言っちゃうのはあんたの良くないところよ。
She's right about that
お
one,
待たせい
Yuuji.
たしました、みちる様。
Our conversation is interrupted by a prompt beverage delivery. Smiling brightly, Sachi places a glass containing cloudy liquid and ice on the table in front of Michiru with a solid thunk. Michiru favors her servant with a lordly nod and a magnanimous "well done," then immediately reaches out for the tumbler.
まあ何にせよ苦手の克服は確かに立派だとは思うけど、くれぐれも周りに迷惑をかけないようにやってもらいたいわね。
Even as she speaks, Michiru brings the drink Sachi provided to her lips, then gulps down a mighty swig. An instant later, Michiru's eyes jerk open wide, and then, still clutching the glass in one white-knuckled hand, she crumbles to the floor. Knees trembling against the ground, she begins to yelp like a distressed weasel. What happened? Is it sour again?
みちる様、どうされました？
サチ、これ
何と申されましても、純度 100% のクエン酸の粉末を絞りたてのレモン果汁で希釈したものですが何か？
私は酸っぱいの苦手なの知ってて、わざとこんなの出したわけ。
はい、みちる様には苦手を克服していただき、より豊かな人生を謳歌していただこうと思いまして。
酸っぱいもので人生が豊かになるなら、この世に戦争なんて起きないわよ。
すみません、ちょっと何を言っているのか全然わかりません。
なんでよ。
わからないことをぐだぐだ言ってないで、とっとと飲み上がってください。みちる様、どちらへ？
Nimbly shifting course, Sachi pulls Michiru's legs out from under her as she scrambles desperately to escape. And then, with an elegant flutter of her long skirt, the maid plunks herself down on her wriggling mistress's stomach.
みちる様、まだお飲み物がたくさん残っておりますよ。
いらない、あんたにあげる。あんたが飲みなさいよ。
ですが先ほどは苦手から逃げ出そうとしても絶対に甘やかすなとのご命令でしたので、小峰幸、この任務に実力を持って対処させていただきたく存じます。Please open your mouth.
Still straddling Michiru, Sachi grabs hold of her chin. And in a reasonable facsimile of a KGB agent forcing a captive to drink huge amount of water to wash away the traces of a truth serum, she violently presses the glass to her mouth. Where do you come up with this stuff?
Let's drink.
わあ、酸っぱい。目の下がピクピクする。
美味しいですね。さあ、一滴もこぼさず全部飲むのです。豚のように鼻を鳴らしながら飲むのです。
こんなにいっぱい飲めない。許して。
それは萌え台詞ですか？軽いエロ台詞ですか？萌えキャラ気取りなんですか？ツンデレのくせに。なぜでしょう。こうして苦しみあえいでいるみちる様を見ていると背中がゾクゾクします。
ド S だ。
基本私は M ですが、みちる様は私に S をお求めのようでしたので、ご要望とあれば私はどんな私にもなれる可能性を秘めているのです。まさに顧客満足度 100% の小峰措置でございます。通販型売上ナンバーワンメイドですね。
Good for you.
言ってる意味がまるでわからないわよ。
お見積もりはウェブで。
もうだから無理
What can I say? You two really get along, don't you?
ちょっとユージじゃないわよ。あんた笑ってないで助けなさいよ。このドイツメイド私の上からどかして。
Sorry, what? Didn't quite catch that. My hearing really seems to be going these days.
ふざけんな。
みちるさんは言葉遣いがお乱れですよ。
ずいぶんと騒がしいから来てみれば、あなたたち一体何をしているの？
ゲボーユーイボ
誰がジュビン？
イハラ助けなさいよ。助けてください。
まったく。小峰さん、
はい、なんでしょう。
こんなに床を汚して一体誰が掃除をすると思っているの？
私ですの。
そういえばそうね。じゃあ行く。
よ
Alright, don't burst the blood vessel. Hey, Sachi.
Yes, boss.
In English. Why don't you let the girl off the hook? Machir's learned her lesson. I'm sure she'll drink the rest of it on her own. Right, Machir?
飲むわよ。飲めばいいんでしょ。いえ、飲ませてください。ちゃんと全部飲みます。お腹がタプタプになるまで。
はい、大変良い心がけと存じます。
Ah. It's pretty good.
ひどい目にあった。
そもそも
It looks like that
ど
worked,
うしてこういう
Sachi.
ことになったわけ？説明してもらえるかしら。
Good question. Well, we started off talking about overcoming weaknesses, but I provide a brief summary of the situation, beginning with Makina's decision to take the part-time job.
イリスさんがパン屋でアルバイトを。
Well, she's basically just helping out a little around the store during break. But I was hoping a little interaction with people outside the school might help the girl get over her shyness and teach her some common sense.
苦手を克服するのは大変素晴らしいことですので。この機会にぜひみちる様にも酸っぱいものを克服していただこうとした結果が先ほど。
だったらサチ、あんたも苦手を克服しなさいな。あんたの苦手なものって何よ。
実のところ私は風見さんが苦手です。
Me?
はい、風見さんに頭を撫でられたりそっと抱きしめられたりすると背中がゾクゾクして動けなくなってしまう。
I see. I wasn't aware. But I guess that's no excuse. I've been patting your head pretty thoughtlessly, haven't I? Sorry about that.
いえ、苦手を克服するのは大変重要なことです。今後も私に隙があればいつでも頭を撫でていただいて構いません。
サチ、あんたそれ卑怯よ。
はい、クエン酸のレモン割りをもう一杯おかわりですか？
あんた耳どこで落としてきた。拾ってきなさいよ。
Not to change the subject, but what are you all doing for summer vacation?
どうすると思う？
Just wondering if you were planning on working part-time or heading home or what have you.
私は別にアルバイトの予定もないし、実家にも戻らないと思うわ。
私もずっと寮にいるかな。
私も特に用事はありませんし、帰る実家もありませんから。
I see. Watching a gloomy atmosphere spread uniformly around the room, I wince a little inwardly. Seems like I shouldn't have asked this particular question. That's alright.
そういうあんたはどうなのよ。
Me? Well, let's see. I don't have a home to go back to, but I guess there's a possibility I'll be called to my part-time job every once in a while. Right. I'm also planning to visit a grave.
お墓参りですか？
My master's grave is up the mountains in Yamanashi. Gets completely overgrown with weeds unless I clean it up once a year. Yamanashi?
お
I think.
掃除は得意ですか
I
ら
don't know how to pronounce
お
that.
手伝いしましょうか？
It's alright. I want to do it myself. That's sort of what you do when you visit a grave, right?
はい。すみません。出過ぎた真似を。
Well, I appreciate the thought.
のほーい、さっちーん、お風呂空いたのよさ。
Our conversation is interrupted by the arrival of a fresh-faced shrimp with a big grin on her face. Amane follows in her wake. Yay! Makina's arm is curled around a hot pink wash basin, containing not only the usual bath towel and soap, but also perhaps the single creepiest-looking mutant of a toy duck I've ever had the displeasure of laying eyes on.
あとは
Okay.
女の子のさっちんだけなのよ。入っちゃいな、入っちゃいな。
じゃあマキちゃんの飲み物用意したら入っちゃうね。
それはいいわよ、さっちゃん。マキナの分は私が用意するから、お風呂入っちゃいなよ。
はい。じゃあ風見さん、お先にお風呂いただきます。
It's alright, take your time.
あ、ちょっとさっち待ちなさいよ。私ももう一度入るから。
With a small bow in my direction, Sachi briskly heads up the stairs toward the bathroom. In pursuit is a quite literally sour-faced Michiru. The bath in this dorm has a full 8 faucets and showers. Theoretically speaking, everyone in the dorm could get in at the same time if they wanted to, but instead the residents have developed an unwritten protocol. Our solitude-loving Sakaki performs her ritual ablutions first, so as to minimize the risks of human interaction generally, but Michiru takes her turn immediately thereafter. As for why Michiru is the second up, it seems she refuses to go after Makina, who has something of a reputation for leaving the bath an utter mess. Yikes. And once the suitor tsundere is done, Amane and Makina take their turn together. Sachi always claims the final slot so that she can perform a little quick cleanup afterward. Yeah. It's not a good thing for the bath to be messy when everyone has to clean themselves there. When I was thrown into the mix, it was generally agreed that I would enter only after all the women had their turns, so as to reduce the potential for awkward mishaps.
いいお湯だったのよ。パパも一緒に入ればよかったのに。
I don't think Chizuru would be too pleased if I pulled a stunt like that.
長が文句言わなかったら一緒に入るつもり？
The bathroom's got 8 separate showers. I don't see why it'd be a problem.
そういう問題じゃないような気がするな。でも確かに私が体洗ってる間、マキナを見ててくれると助かるのよね。この子油断してるとお風呂で寝ちゃうから危ないし。
That a fact? Guess that would explain why Amane almost always goes in with her.
それじゃ私は失礼して部屋に戻らせてもらうわ。
おやすみ。ね
えパパ、みんなで集まって何のお話ししてたの？
Oh, right. We were just discussing our plans for the summer vacation. Amane, you're going back to visit your family, right? Oh, she is.
と言ってもまだ先の
That
話だ
sounds
けどね。
fun.
それに実家って言っても母方のおじいちゃんおばあちゃんの家だし。
アマネーのおばあちゃんち京都なのよ。すっげえ美人だけどすっげえ怖いのよさ。
You met her?
去年の夏休みにね、この子を寮に置いていくわけにもいかなかったから一緒に京都に連れてったのよ。
なんかね、すっげえ高そうな着物着ててね。そんでシールでタバコ吸ってた。あれはあれな、料亭のおかみじゃなくて、どう見てもその筋の姉さんなのよさ。
人のおばあちゃんを何だと思ってやがる。
なんか変な人？
The woman's strange enough to be called weird by Makina. We must be talking about a pretty peculiar individual here.
変じゃないってば。
でも初対面でいきなり大ボケかましてたのよさ。
Why? A setup line?
いやだからさ、私がおばあちゃん家の扉開けて「こんにちは」って声かけたら奥からおばあちゃんが出てきたんだけどさ。
玄関口であまねえじゃなくて私に向かって「遠いとこよう来はったな」って言ったのよ。
Oh.
そんでまあマキナの顔をガッと掴んだかと思ったら、いやしばらく見いひんかったらえらい縮んでしもて、今年の夏はえらい暑いよってなって軒下につられたたくあんじゃあるまいし縮まないっての。
Is the woman senile? Sounds like quite the entertaining grandmother.
マキナ、あんた今年も一緒に行く？また今年も浴衣着てお祭り行こっか。
ああ、いいな。去年作ってもらった浴衣まだ着れっかな。
大丈夫じゃない？あんた全然背伸びてないし。
Yukata. Come to think of it, I guess that'd be a pretty good look for a stumpy little bear like Makina.
それは褒められているのか？
On the other hand, Amane, would Yukata really work out so well with this distinctly un-Japanese figure?
なんで私をジロジロ見る？
Well, Amane, my friend, a word of advice from me to you. When wearing a yukata, try not to saunter around the streets with a bottle of lotion in one hand.
歩くかボケ。つかあんたが私を見ながら何を想像したのか大体分かったわよ。つうかさ、今年はユージも来る
No, I'll pass.
遠
What?
慮ならいらないよ。部屋ならいっぱいあるし、
Go, Yuuji.
料
Come
理屋だか
on.
ら食事も心配ないし何も予定がないならおいでよ。
Thing is, I'm on call at my part-time job. I don't know when they'll want me, and I need a fairly good reason to leave the prefecture. There's paperwork to fill out and everything. Aw.
そっか、残念だね。
I'll enjoy myself in my own way. Don't worry about it. Aw. It's too
そうだ
bad.
ね。
Nothing to apologize for. Thanks for inviting me. In the first place, if I did tag along to meet that grandmother of hers, I'm not quite sure how I could respond to having my cheeks firmly pinched. Let alone the Lord Almighty, hasn't been that long since I saw you. Be sure I've turned into a man. Guess it was a long rainy season this year. Gag she might well hit me with. And even if the company were to give me permission to leave the prefecture, there's a good chance I'd still be summoned when necessary. Worst case scenario, they might end up landing a helicopter on the old lady's lawn. Bless me. Fundamentally speaking, enjoying a vacation like anyone else is a privilege not extended to those of us who live with a chain locked firmly around our necks. Even so, my summer begins normally enough. Okay. Sometimes I'm amazed at the human capacity to adapt. Generally speaking, the speed with which someone picks up the knack of something is proportional to their performance, but it's surprisingly difficult to guess the fastest learners ahead of time. Exceptionally talented individuals can often apply their existing skills to a new task. But it's not uncommon for someone who seems inferior in other respects to abruptly discover an astonishing talent in one specific field. Case in point, ever since I was a kid, I had a firm reputation for being below average at everything I tried. But then I met my master, stumbled across a certain talent, and in time came to see the world through a new lens. You could say that discovering that talent made it possible for me to finally find my niche, such as it is. Okay, we're getting pretty abstract here, so I'm going to explain things a little more simply. There are two types of people in this world, those who are capable of riding a bicycle and those who aren't. And, well, apparently Makina belongs in the former category. That's it. Makina zips around the courtyard on the mini Velosachi Lenus, and boldly releasing one handlebar to leave in my direction. Not exactly ready for the tour, but she's maintaining a respectable degree of control. The girl only got on a bicycle for the first time yesterday, and in terms of skill, it's fair to say that she's already superior to one not insignificant group of fellow pedal pushers. Namely, those little old ladies who fall right off whenever an obstacle crosses their path, the so-called granny cyclists who had a respectable standard to pass after one day. I'm pretty well convinced at this point the girl has talent. Perhaps it was my rigorous training in the finest tradition of a culture that produced 300 warriors who faced down 1,000,000 Persians that allowed it to blossom. I nod deeply, satisfied to see the wisdom of my educational methods reaffirmed. As Makina pumps away at the pedals, enthralled with the bursts of speed she can produce on her own power, her face seems to have frozen in a manically joyful grin. I know exactly how she feels. Discovering a new talent is like seeing a clear new path opening up before you on the vague, foggy road into the future. It's a downright stirring feeling. Will I be able to prepare the sort of road this daughter of mine deserves? As my thoughts lurch into sentimental territory, all of a sudden the sight of Makina waving at me from her bicycle seems oddly moving. I've never had a child of my own, so I can only speculate. But maybe these are the sort of feelings that carry the fathers of the world through the daily grind. Before I know it, I've started worrying myself about what I can do for this girl. Seriously, considering multiple possibilities for her future, it's bizarre. I can't even figure myself out anymore. Her final lap completed, Makina comes to rest a few feet in front of me, puffing out her meager chest in a display of pure pride that would put a strutting peacock to shame. You're a cocky little punk, but I must admit you've gotten the general idea. I see. I was aware of that, of course. Amane reported afterward that I just showed her the basics, but she got the hang of it pretty easily. During this initial session, Makina apparently fell off her bike once or twice. Normal for a beginner, of course. What surprised Amane was the way she fell. When Makina felt she was beginning to lose her balance, she instantly determined the safest possible way to hit the ground. Alright, good job. Sometimes she deliberately slid off the bike to avoid the worst case scenario. Alright then, how about you follow me on the bike when I go running today? More or less. While we're at it, I'll teach you the rules of riding a bike on a public road. I glance at the watch on my left wrist, about 6:30. If I run at my normal pace and skip climbing the stairs at that Shinto shrine, it should come out to a light 50-minute course. Once you get the hang of riding a bike, wanting to pedal out into the world is only human. And when you're passing through a familiar town in a whole new way, it's hard not to feel a slight sense of adventure swelling in your chest. The question, just how far can I go, floats naturally through your mind. But even taking all that into consideration, I can't let this turn into a casual joyride. There's just too much I need to teach Makina. First, the most fundamental of the fundamentals, how to focus your attention when operating a vehicle. There are far too many people who only look directly in front of them. At the very least, I want Makina looking far enough down the road to notice hazards 15 meters or more in advance, and while checking her sides should go without saying. I don't want the girl ignoring what's behind her either. Unlike motorcycles or cars, bicycles don't have blinkers or brake lights. Keeping everyone around you informed of your intentions requires deliberate care on your part. By checking both sides ahead of time, you can avoid problems when you change a lane or make a turn, and being aware of what's behind you dramatically reduces the risk of being rear-ended while braking. I'm jogging along explaining these matters to Makina when we pass a pink collar worker, casually fiddling with her cell phone as she steers her car with one careless hand. Take a look at that, Makina. Bicycle accidents are on the rise these days, and the majority are directly caused by happy-go-lucky types like her.
Oh, 器用なのよさ。あれって前見えてないよね。
The woman can see just fine. She's just choosing not to look. It's not like she's driving a darn tank. As a general rule, motor vehicles are made to provide their operator with adequate visibility. Not even trying to look around you is negligent, and ignoring what's right before your eyes is downright criminal. Averting your gaze from things you'd rather not see. Cover your ears against unpleasant words. Exactly the sort of casual arrogance that once led Japan into an unwinnable war. You'd think we'd have learned our lesson by now. In any case, never operate a vehicle while playing with your cell phone, and keep your headphones off too. Always pay attention to your surroundings, and be aware of how well others can see you. That alone should be enough to avoid a good percentage of preventable accidents you might suffer otherwise. As a general rule, the most important part of keeping yourself safe is maintaining a healthy fear of things that can kill you. In other words, don't get so used to the peaceful existence you're currently enjoying that you start taking it for granted. Nothing went wrong yesterday, and today's been smooth sailing as well, so tomorrow will no doubt be just the same. Such careless thinking sneaks up on you, and when a real crisis arrives, it can render you utterly hopeless. Helpless. But pressing this rather theoretical point won't do much good. The words will probably go in one ear and out the other until Makina has a wake-up call of her own. Instead, I emphasize the importance of concrete, simple procedures for staying alert and aware of the road around her. Listen, Makina, no matter how much of a hurry you might be in, don't even think about neglecting your safety checks. In fact, the faster you're rushing, the more alert you need to be. Being careless and taking chances isn't going to gain you a significant amount of time. At most, they'll cost you 5 minutes a trip or so. That's a small price to pay for preventing the worst case scenario. You've got a long life ahead of you. It's not worth risking the decades you've got left for the sake of 10 minutes here or there. You understand?
こそ次があるってやつな。
Exactly. You're not going to win the respect of grown-ups by being reckless. If anything, the Department of Defense has better things to do than write letters of condolence to your parents. Maggot. This is a typical reaction.
金かけて教育したのにあっさり行かれたら、そりゃ国防総省も大損なのよさ。
Seems like you're starting to get the idea. Alright, let me drill this into that thick country bumpkin skull of yours one last time. Here's my rule. Don't die before your parents. Amane and I will teach you the skills you need to keep yourself in one piece, so don't waste our efforts through sheer stupidity. Understood? Alright, good. Pretty decent answer for a poop eating recruit. We'll suspend our training here for the day. Clicking her heels together, Makina smartly snaps a hand to her head. Originally, the salute was something Makina started as part of some make-believe soldier game, but the gesture was so painfully sloppy that I couldn't stop myself from dressing her down on her poor form. Apparently, she took my demonstrations to heart. The angle of her right arm is sharp, and she's tightly clenching her free hand at her side. Not entirely orthodox, but she's got spirit. Well then, the girl's probably hungry, probably about time for breakfast. But just as I'm glancing at my watch, a fluting call fills the air. Oh. Ah, that's a cuckoo. He was singing yesterday morning too. Impressed you know that. Yeah, cuckoos lay their eggs in the nests of other birds like the shrike or reed warbler. Since this one's been around 2 days in a row, there's probably a nest around here. Squinting, I carefully look over the area the birdsong's coming from. The search proves slightly easier this time around. There it is! Look at the 18th Street, counting from the storehouse on the left. It's up in the branches. Can you see it? Don't get too close or it'll fly off. There, see? In the branches of that tree on the left. Why can't you see it? The bird's huge. Closer to gray than black, I'd say. Orange eyes and feet, though. Wow. Okay, he has good vision. Well, I've got pretty good long-distance vision thanks to my job. Alright, wait here. I'll bring you something nice. Oh, look at that. I'll be back soon. Don't run around and scare the cuckoo off, alright? They mentioned he has good vision there, and Makina has a... Well, she doesn't have good vision long, but probably short. I jog back to the dorm, then drag out the rucksack containing all my earthly possessions from the back of my closet. Actually, a mention of short and long-distance vision in visual novel. I know it's a little pathetic to admit this myself, but there's a heck of a lot of useless junk in this thing. The container I finally retrieved from the very bottom of the bag just looks like a tackle box at a glance, but instead of worse, it's packed full of old tools I no longer actively use in the field. An assortment of Allen wrenches in all size, a short-handled, stubby driver, an old Palm PC with a monochrome screen, a GPS that's grown unusably accurate. Inaccurate, yes. Unusably inaccurate. Sifting through it all, I finally spot a small black case. There it is. I retrieve the case, open the two sliding clasps holding it closed, and flip open the lid. In the middle of a cushioning bed of foam, there's a long tube glazed to a dull, non-reflective black. Specifically, it's a Leopold MK-M3, a sight my master bought for me as a toy one Christmas. Whoa, I'm equipped with nicer optics these days, so I haven't used the thing in years, but I never got around to throwing it out. I remove the lens cap and try peering inside. The wire reticle doesn't seem to have been jolted off center. Sliding it back into the case, I take the whole package under my arm and head back to the courtyard where Makina is waiting. Oh, sorry for the wait. The cuckoo's still singing.
まだいるっぽいけど、パパどこ行ってたのよさ。
Just went to get this from my room.
何それ？
Well, a little telescope, basically. I deftly snap open the case and retrieve the scope, remove the lens cap, and place the long, cool tube in Makina's hand. The thing's made of metal and glass, so it's pretty heavy. Don't drop it, alright?
ああ、なんかこんなのテレビで見たことあるのよ。狙撃の人が持ってるやつなのね。パパはなんでこんなの持ってんの？
I'm an amateur bird watcher. Forget that, just take a look already. Just as instructed, Makina presses the black tube to her right eye with both hands, but...
何これ？全然何も見えないのよさ。
You've got your eye too close to the lens. Let me see it for a second. After retrieving the scope from Makina, I attach a rubber eye cup to the appropriate end of the tube. While I'm at it, I also twist the zoom ring, decreasing the magnification somewhat. How's this?
うわ、見える見える。すんげえ見えるけど、あれ？過去はどこ？
Try using your left eye to look for its general position, while your right looks through the scope.
どこだ？あ、いたなんか大きい鳩みたいなのがいる。
Yes.
すげえ、くちばしが黒いのまで見えるのよさ。
Yes. This is cute. Try turning the dial on the back of the tube. You can change the magnification so it'll look even bigger.
うわー、すげえ。かっこうだよパパ。生かっこ。写真以外でこんなに大きく見たの初めてだよ。ジーズ。
Makina, what happened to your language?
だってパパ、すんげえ面白いよ。うわ、過去こっち見た。こっちみんな。
Oh. Just look at her having fun. The bird's getting nervous because you're making so much noise.
かっこ、泣かないね。静かにしてれば泣く？
Well, as long as you stay this far away, I think he'll start again sooner or later.
興奮冷めやらぬといったところだけれど、しばし静かに割烹観察としゃれ込みますか。
Yeah, you do that. My thoughts exactly, Yuuji. Observing things you don't normally get the chance to see is definitely enjoyable. I always liked watching birds as well. I was living alone with my master in the mountains. We'd see turtle doves and bulbuls every day. And even after I started my current job, I usually get the chance to watch birds during long standby periods in the field. Then again, there was that one time I had to spend 2 weeks on standby on an uninhabited southern island. It was a small, windswept piece of stone, barren of trees and devoid of birds. After finishing all the books I brought with me, I didn't have a thing to do other than sit on the rocks by the shore and watch the tropical fish below. At first, I thought a completely solitary job would suit an introvert like me just fine, but I still remember the painful stab of depression I felt after realizing I hadn't spoken a single word in over a week. Solitude and boredom are pretty difficult things for human beings to endure, I guess, especially in combination.
ねえパパ
Why?
カッコウは悪い鳥なのかな
What makes you ask?
だってタクランってもともとその巣にあった卵を落としちゃうんだよ。そんで自分の本当の子じゃないのに親鳥はカッコウのヒナのために一生懸命に餌をあげるんだよ。どうして？
Well, probably because they don't realize it's not their child. Or even if they're vaguely aware, when the thing opens its mouth and goes chip chip, they just can't help feeding it.
それってずるいよね。
Unfair might be one way to put it, yeah. But that's just their strategy as a species. If the cuckoos played fair, they wouldn't be here today.
人に迷惑をかけなきゃ生きられないなら絶滅すればいいのよさ。そうまでして生き延びたカッコウに何の意味があるの？
Tricky question. Yes, they gain as a species by causing others harm, but that's not exactly rare in nature, and there are cases where the other bird notices the switch and rejects the newly hatched cuckoo. It's not like they can be sure everything will go smoothly. The cuckoo strategy has its own risks. So when a chick manages to find itself some good foster parents, it should accept its good fortune happily. Rest assured, even if I'm a warbler and you're a cuckoo, I'll take good care of you until the day you can leave the nest with confidence.
ごめんね、パパ。
Don't be. The cuckoo may be a parasite, but our relationship is symbiotic. Your presence doesn't cause me any harm. Heck, sometimes it's beneficial.
例えば？
Again with the tricky questions. There's a number of advantages to having you around, but I doubt you'd really understand even if I tried to explain. If I had to try and wrap it up in one phrase anyway, I find you cute, I suppose.
私、可愛いふりをしてるだけかもしんないのよ。
Please don't tell me you've been mangling the Japanese language all this time out of some misguided attempt to be cutesy. You're badly overrating your talent as an actress. Saying that and nothing more, Makina silently continues peering through the scope. It's pretty clear that the girl started comparing the cuckoo's evolutionary strategy to her own way of life. And concluding that asking me to become her father might have been unfair on her part. But in the first place, Makina entrusted me with a full 70 million yen in compensation for this job. Doesn't exactly qualify as a parasitic relationship. That said, I completely understand the anxiety Makina's feeling right now. I myself went through something very similar after my master adopted me. I asked her many times why she bothered to take in a worthless, incompetent brat like me. And every time, my master gave me the same answer. You need to get over this idea that you can't do anything, kid. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The way you look at things makes a heck of a lot more difference than you realize. Listen up. From now on, tell yourself this instead. I can't do everything well, but there's nothing I can't do at all. Got that? And in the end, it didn't prove that difficult to find something I wasn't so useless at, something that gave me a kind of worth. If I hadn't met my master, I probably would have gone my whole life without discovering that. Well, nature is fundamentally cruel. Weren't you waiting for it to sing? You can make almost any meat reasonably edible with enough curry to flavor it, but can't say I've ever experimented with cuckoos. I'm not much of a carnivore in the first place, you know. The bird does sort of resemble a pigeon. Could sort of picture someone in France or China stuffing cheese into its stomach and then cooking it in an oven, but... While I'll admit that I'm not exactly knowledgeable in culinary affairs, I haven't heard of any cuckoo eating customs in this country. Try to forgive him, why don't you? Cuckoos have their reasons. Just because he's a parasite doesn't mean he's a jerk. Yeah. Amane and I are here for you, right? Don't get so fired up. I drop a hand on the Makina's head and give it a few thumps. The girl responds with a grumbling half-growl, but appears mollified for the moment. An idiotic electronic squawk cuts into the conversation, wiping out any remaining fragment of tension. Makina quickly retrieves her egg-shaped digital pet from its usual place around her waist.
けねえや。明日バイトに行かなきゃいけねえ時間ですぜ、旦那。
Are you supposed to be a Tokyo kid now? It's currently 7:30 by my watch. I'm pretty sure Makina was scheduled for her first shift at the bakery starting at 8 this morning.
そんじゃ私ちょっくらバイト行ってくるのよさ。
Very well. Obey your orders faithfully and uphold the honor of your shop. Devote your days to the pursuit of baking excellence. Workery. Workery at the bakery. Hold on, you get off that bike. I don't remember giving out your MOS yet.
へえ。
Don't give me that. It's too early for you to be riding on the street alone. For today, head to your destination on foot while imagining yourself following the same route on bicycle. Stay alert and practice maintaining situational awareness. Understood?
なんかバカバカしいのよさ。
What kind of an attitude is that? Approach your trolls as if they were real combat. Also, don't casually wander off with my scope in your hand.
バレたか。
Is this how it went with Amani's boots too? You're hopeless. I don't mind letting you have the thing if you like it, but you're not going to need it at the bakery. Leave it behind.
うーい、そんじゃ行ってきまーす。
Indeed, do us proud out there. After entrusting me with the mini Vela and her new scope, Makina dashes off toward the front gate, imitating the ting-ting of a bicycle bell with her mouth. Looks like she's managed to get herself into this scenario. And so, I sent Makina off in what I felt was a suitably vigorous and encouraging manner. However, this opinion was not universally shared.
もう行かせちゃったの？それも一人で？
Yeah. Bye!